Welcome back to Design Bundles YouTube channel. If you guys are new here, my name is Crystal, and today we are continuing on with our Christmas in July. So if you guys haven't already seen, we went live on Monday to give you guys a few examples using this bundle. I've already made a tumbler here, and today we're going to be using Printable HTV, which you can accomplish the same thing if you have a sublimation printer. You can use Caesar Easy Subli. But today I wanted to switch it up. So if you don't have a sublimation printer, how can you still get this effect? You can use Printable HTV along with an inkjet printer. So just a standard inkjet printer, you can accomplish this. So that's what we're going to do today. So I'm going to go ahead and go over the bundle today that we have actually designed out for you. So with this bundle, lots of different things that you guys can do along the way, from using your Cricut silhouettes, Glowforge, sublimation, all sorts of fun things. So going through here, lots and lots of stuff. You have things for t-shirts, stickers, cards, ornaments, as you can see here, even those fun little stencils for the boots, if you guys know what I'm talking about there. We have Mandela stuff. We have, like I said, once again, lots of stuff. You could create some tea towels. You could do the Santa sacks. I mean, we have thrown in so much stuff. Another one here is the earrings, which, stay tuned, we have a video coming for that one. Lots and lots of fun stuff here. For the bundle that I am using today, it will be this one right here. So this is a little bundle inside of a bundle. This comes with 10 designs, and this was something that I seen a little trendy last year, so I thought that we would go ahead and do it this year. So we're going to use this design right here. Lots and lots of cute ones. Once again, throw them on a wine glass, coffee mug, all sorts of fun stuff that you can do with these. So today I'm also going to be using my silhouette. This is the Cameo 4, and I'm going to be using the print and cut. I think they call it print and cut. So we're going to be doing that with the Starcraft. This is the printable. You can get this from all sorts of different brands, even locally, but we have this one linked down below for you. There's ones for light material, and then there is ones for dark materials. So just depending. So if you're working on a white t-shirt, then you can use the one for light. The one for dark is going to have that white opaque background. So whenever we go to cut this out, you could have a little bit of an offset to put this on like a darker garment, like the dark gray that we're using today, or maybe you want to use it on a black t-shirt, but it's got that opaque background to help it pop. Okay, so that's the difference on those. And then we've got our inkjet printer here. All right, so let's go and head on over to Silhouette Studio so we can get ready to cut it out. All right, so once you have opened up Silhouette Studio, the first thing you want to do is just go ahead and open your file that you're using. So I'm actually going to be using one of the JPEGs. So if you guys have the basic edition of Silhouette Studio, when it comes to those SVG files, you really want to use the DXF, because with their basic, just right out the gate, without having to pay for a subscription or to up a plan, you can only upload the DXF as well as PNGs and JPEGs. So you can't use an SVG, but a DXF file is the same thing. So if you ever wonder what that is, but whenever it comes to, I want to keep those same colors going, you can bring in the JPEG, and I'm going to show you how to get rid of that white background if it has one. So what we're going to go ahead and do is, I've got the JPEGs open for this file, and we are going to be using, I'm like, where did it go? Right here. We're going to go ahead and hit OK. So the very first thing I actually want to do is go ahead and size out and get those registration marks and all of that stuff before we start to remove that opaque background. You can tell that I've got that white opaque background because you can't see the grid behind it. All right, so this is one solid file, and if I tried to print and cut, it's going to cut a square all the way around this. But I want to get all the way inside of these pieces and get real intricate, okay? So what we're going to do is go up here to page, so this little page right here, we're going to click on that, and then we're just going to go and make sure a few things are set up. So number one, you want to change your media size to your 8.5 by 11, which I've already done here. And then we're going to go ahead and go over to the last page here, and we're going to go ahead and turn those registration marks on. So this is going to tell the silhouette where we need to cut. So make sure you turn those on. And then if you want to print bleed, you can turn that on as well. And so on and so forth. So I think everything looks good here, just double checking everything. If you want to show your print border, you can also have that toggled on and off so you kind of know where you need to work. All right, so once those are on, you can click on your file here and then start to size everything out, making sure you're staying well within those print lines. So I'm going to go ahead and just do that here. I'm going to go ahead and bring this up a smidge and then go ahead and bring this down. All right. So I think we're pretty happy with this. I'm just making sure I'm well within those print borders. Now, how do we get rid of this and turn it into a multiple cut file? So what you're actually going to do is come over here to your trace tool. It looks, you know what it always reminds me of is a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. This reminds me of looking at a loaf of bread, like the little sandwich. So that's what I call it. We're going to go right over here to our PB&J. And then from here, you're going to go ahead and go to select trace area. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So we're going to click on it. And then once you do that, you're just going to highlight around what we're tracing. So we are tracing these pieces right here. All right, so you can see it pops up like that. So what we actually want to change, see how it's on solid fill? We want to change it to outline. So now there is, hopefully you guys can barely see that little bit of that yellow all the way around. Now, you notice that it's not picking up the green. And if you notice that, because it's got a yellow outline around here, but it doesn't around my green stuff. So how can we change that? What we can do is we can go ahead and turn our threshold. So if we go ahead and start to turn this up, now you're seeing that it's picking up more pieces. So you're going to do that until everything is picked up. And one thing that you can do, so you can see this a lot better, and I prefer to do this for cutting, is you want to bring that scale up. All right. So now you notice we can really start to see. So I'm double checking everything, all of my circles, all of my pieces. So it looks like everything is included here. And if you notice that you need to clean anything up, you can do so. I think everything looks good here. If you feel like you need to despeckle anything, you can do all of that there. The next thing you want to do is use the top one right here that is trace. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And so now if we go in here and I move this, you can see that they're separate. So hopefully I'm going to go ahead and do this. So you see how on the screen you can see all of that red there? So it's going to cut. So it's going to cut these pieces out. So it's going to be perfect. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and hit undo so that way it will go back to where it needs to be. So I've got those cut lines there, and now it's completely ready to go. So what we're going to go and do, we don't need a mirror. Whenever you're working with Printable HTV or the Caesar Easy Subly, you do not need to mirror, okay? So what we're going to do now is we're going to go to send. All right, and so we're going to get ready to send this to the printer. We can always test this to make sure everything's going to look good by hitting the printer right here, which we're going to have to do to send it anyways. So now you notice with that print border, everything is where it needs to be. Everything's good to go. All right, so we're going to go ahead and hit print. And so before I do, I'm going to load this into my printer. So the way that you're going to do this, so for example, if you have a printer like mine where it loads in the top, you want to have that white facing you. So this side right here, where it has the design, is going to go towards the printer there, and you're just going to drop it inside just like so. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and hit print, and then we're going to go ahead and choose our printer. Looks good, and now we're going to go ahead and hit that print. Now I'm also going to show you guys a little hack here. So whenever it comes to using your print and cut with the silhouette, when it comes to like, if this is going to be a little bit lighter, say for example, if you're using Caesar Easy Subly, those inks come in lighter until you press it. So you want to go over it with a Sharpie, just be nice and slow and go over those registration marks with the Sharpie, and that's going to help the silhouette really see those black lines. Now with this being a printer, I think it's probably going to go ahead, I'm going to scoot this over here really quick. I think it's probably going to go ahead and see those quite well. All right, so while we do that, let's go ahead and get these out of our way and get ready to load our mat. All right, so we've got this, and so my lines are good enough. So they're black, looks great. So we want to load this onto our mat here. So I'm going to go ahead and go here, and we're going to get it right up there in that top corner, just like so. All right. And just kind of patting everything down, making sure everything's good to go. All right, so we're just gonna go to this little white line right here, get underneath here, and hit that load button. So as you can see here, it's just gonna zoom around. Now, if you did a bleed print, what that's gonna do is expand that print a little bit, so that way you don't have any sort of cut. So if it gets off a little bit, you're not gonna notice any of that. You can also do an offset as well. All right, so we are done. So we are gonna get ready to unload this. We're gonna hit the unload button, and then we are gonna get ready to weed this. Now, a tip from me is, if you are gonna be using a transfer sheet in any way, make sure you guys transfer it first and then weed off of the transfer sheet, because Ask me how I know, because if you, for example, I used a strong grip, which I should not have. I used one from my glitter HTV. It wanted to peel the paper and it stuck to it. It was a nightmare. So definitely make sure you guys are picking up the entire thing. That way it can't touch that paper, and then weed off of that. So if you guys have any scrap pieces of the your carrier sheet, whenever you guys are doing your HTV projects, set those aside and use those, all right? So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and weed mine, because I'm going to also show you guys how you can hand move this over. So that's what we're going to do today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to weed everything. Now I also want to mention that I changed my settings. So I actually had to put this back in and cut it one more time. So instead of going with the preset, go ahead and choose the heat transfer printable dark, but then change it to a blade depth of 2 instead of 1, and then change your force all the way up to 28, and then your speed from 3 to 8 as well. So we have the blade depth of 2, we have the force of 28, and then we have the speed of 8. So I'll try to put that here so that way you guys have that information. All right, so if you guys put this in and you put it at the preset, what you can do is you can actually reload it. So if you didn't mess with anything, you can still reload it. It'll read those lines again and it'll cut over it again. So just reload it and recut. All right, so here we go. So we're just going to go ahead and weed out this piece here. So it's super duper easy to weed. All right, so you're just going to weed out all of the pieces we don't need. So I'm going to run through there and do that really fast. All right, so we are getting down to our last few pieces here. So I'm just gonna weed all of these out. I think I got that piece. Yeah, I think that's just paper. And then we've got, there we go, perfect. Perfect, perfect. All right, so this is gonna allow you guys to, if you guys are running low on HTV or anything like that, you notice I'm not having to load in my green, my black, my red. I'm all doing this on one sheet. All right, so let me go ahead and get this out of the way. We're gonna bring in the Cricut Easy Press 3. I'm using the 10x12 today, and I'll be right back. All right, so now that we're ready, what we're gonna do is we're going to change our heat settings to 350 for 30 seconds. All right, so while that's heating up, let's go ahead and get our shirt ready to go. So I'm just using a Gildan Soft style. This is in a gray here, just to show you a darker garment. I'm using my Cricut pad here. We're gonna go ahead and line this guy up right up here at the top. So the very first thing that we want to do is remove any sort of moisture. You can do this while it's starting to heat up. So whenever you get around, you know, even 135, you just need to pull out that that moisture, if you will. This is going to smooth out any sort of wrinkles and all of that good stuff, but also pull out that moisture. So wherever your design is going to go, you want to go ahead and do that now. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and set that aside. So you don't have to wait until it's all the way at the 350. You can do that now. All right, so now what we're going to do is line this up. I'm going to scoot my pad down just a little bit. All right, so once your shirt has cooled back down, you don't want to do this while it's hot or warm. Once it's cooled back down, we're going to start putting our pieces on the t-shirt. Once again, if you're using a carrier sheet, you're just going to pop it down before you start weeding anything. Use your squeegee tool to get that, then weed those pieces, and you would have one solid piece. But if you're going to do it like me, you're going to go ahead and just, you can fold it over if you want to kind of get a corner going here. And then you're just going to be very gentle and pull these pieces off. So just nice and slow, we're gonna pull these pieces. So I've got my B there, and I'm gonna go ahead and do this for all of the pieces. All right, so for my last one here, I'm just gonna go ahead and get it up here and then just start to straighten everything back out. Now the one thing is I did lose my eye along the way, but that's all right. So you're just gonna look at it, make sure everything's lined up. Now the fun thing is with something like this, you could really get as crazy or creative as you want to. If you kind of wanted to make them a little bit wonky, you could definitely do that. But you could take your time, get these lined back up. Now if you had a ton of pieces, I would not recommend this. Get yourself, you can definitely even purchase it separately, but once again, you can use those saved pieces of that heat transfer carrier sheet. But I'm gonna go ahead and roll with this. I think everything looks good. I'm just making sure one more time, maybe double checking on the into. I think it looks good. So now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and take my transfer, being very careful, nice and slow, and cover everything. And then we're gonna go on top. We can't really tape it down, obviously, so we're gonna go on top, being nice and gentle and slow, and we're gonna hit go. So we're gonna press this 350 for 30 seconds. All right, so we are down to 5 seconds, 4 seconds, and if we need to, we may need to move over. I think this covered everything, so we're gonna check it out. Yes, I think everything is covered, and then slowly we're gonna peel away that parchment. So definitely make sure you have a piece of parchment, not blowout paper, because that is paper. We don't want it to stick to anything. I highly recommend that you guys use some parchment paper so you guys can see how super cute this turned out. All right, so we're gonna drop it down. And then we're just going to go ahead and press one more time for 15 seconds. So this is going to go ahead and make sure that this thing has completely adhered to the t-shirt. Now, if you're using a bigger heat press, you definitely don't have to do this. All right, so we've got just a couple more seconds here. Looks good. I'm gonna go ahead and shut that off, move it out of the way, and then once again, there you have it. So if you guys don't have a sublimation printer, but you wanna do some things that you could do with your sublimation printer, for example, using that Caesar Easy Subli, you can purchase heat transfer printable vinyl, if you will. There's printable vinyl that you can use, once again, to put on signs and cups and all those things. Then there is printable HTV. So there you have it. You guys let me know in the comments below if you guys liked it. So this is episode number 2, and make sure you guys definitely check out episode number 1 where we did our tumbler, and then you can also go back and check out our live so you can catch it on the replay. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. If you did, please hit the like button down below and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.